afterwards. So that's why I hit record right now, because I go back and edit out the first part through all of this. All right. Well, Ginger, thanks for being with me today. I know it's a work day, but I appreciate you taking time to sit with me for just a few minutes. So let's take a look at our waterfall scope and sequence document. I want us to reground ourselves in this document for our feedback meeting today, from when we did the walkthrough with the other 4 principals that were with me.
Okay.
So as you look in this scope and sequence document right here, which action step do you feel you were successful in accomplishing during your class?
I'm thinking this one, engage every student.
Okay. Why did you think why did you pick a land on that one?
I'm thinking the pacing of the lesson went well.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it was fast, but not too fast, and the kids responded well to what I was teaching that day.
I would 100% agree with you, and funny enough, that's actually the action step that I landed on as well, was your pacing. I noticed that everybody was engaged, and that there was, between using the timer that was on the board, the time between transitions was less than 2 to 5 seconds. Even when you would ask kids to turn and talk with one another, which is also an engaging step, it was timed, it was very quick, and the entry and exit to that turn and talk was very smooth. So there was a lot of things that had to do with the pacing and engaging of students that was just spot on. And so well done on that part. Very well done. So I would totally agree with you all with all of that part. Okay, so today I want us to focus on writing precise learning objectives.
Okay.
As I was in your class the other day, I looked at your lesson plans and I saw that you have a we will statement and an I will statement, but the I will statement had a whole lot in it. Everything was good, but we want to narrow down and focus that objective, and that's what we're going to kind of take a look at today. So when you have a precise learning objective of what you want to accomplish that day, that's TEKS aligned, how does that usually affect students' achievement and their ability to master different curriculum?
Well, they know exactly what they need to know. So if they know what they need to know, then it narrows down anything that's peripheral, and they can focus on that one learning objective.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. They know what they need to master, and they know what it needs to look like at the end of the day. When I get to the end of the day, I know I've got to accomplish this, and that's how I know. So you're perfect, dead on. So as I reflected on the waterfall scope and sequence document, this right here, and your lesson plans, I landed on the following action step. So on your action step tracker, which thank you for bringing that today.
You're very welcome.
We're going to write down the what and the how of this action step.
Okay.
All right, so here's your what.
Okay.
The what is write precise learning objectives that match the TEKS.
Okay.
All right, and then the how, we've got 4 steps. So number 1, review your macro plan for daily lesson objectives. And I know this is music, so your macro plan is probably a little bit different than most people's, but I know you guys have gone over it.
Okay.
All right, use the number 2, use the TEKS to write your we will statement.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Number 3, determine the success criteria for mastery. All right, and the last one, this one's a little bit longer. Write an I will statement aligned to the TEKS that is specific and measurable by the end of the lesson. Perfect. Okay. Can you read those back to me to make sure that that we both have the same thing?
Sure.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, the what is write precise learning objectives that match the TEKS.
Perfect.
And then the how is number 1, review macro plans for daily objectives.
Okay.
Number 2 is use the TEKS to write we will statements.
Perfect.
Number 3, determine the success criteria for mastery.
Okay.
And number 4, write an I will statement aligned to the TEKS that is specific and measurable by the end of the lesson.
You got it. Awesome. So as you look at this action step that we just wrote down, how will you know once you've gone through it and you've implemented it? How will you know that you have mastered this action step?
How will I know that I've mastered the action step?
Yes.
Let's see. Well, I will use this list to make sure.
you know, it is that obvious. It is that obvious. Yeah, so you check that list off and you're good to go. That is, I know, it's not rocket science sometimes, Ginger. No. It's not. The other one that I put down is I'll give you feedback through just checking your lesson plans and walkthroughs and go from there also.
Yes.
So, no, you're exactly right. You got that? You got it right. That's no ifs, ands, or buts. So how will you know whether or not it has impacted the student achievement in your classroom?
Well, because if I give informal or formal assessments of any kind, then I can tell if they have learned what I want them to learn.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And I've seen that through works, exit tickets, anything of that nature. That's right on. Okay, so we're going to practice this before we go. So we're going to practice these steps. And so we can kind of know what each one of these steps might look like. And I'll tell you in advance, there's some of these steps you've already done and you've got them very well down. And so we'll point those out too. So we're going to look at the lesson plans from the week that we were walking in there and kind of take a look at it. So as we look at this, what was the TEK that you were addressing that day?
The TEK was students will identify the instruments and the timbre of the orchestra.
That's perfect, and that's the part that is very good. The we will statement, it is straight from the TEK, and what the TEK is wanting, the SE is wanting to accomplish for that time frame. So that's great. So how will you know if students have mastered being able to identify instruments?
I have planned for them, they will play orchestra bingo.
Okay.
And they will be successful in getting a bingo by being able to identify the instrument and then also the unique timbre of each instrument.
Okay, perfect. And you kind of answered my next question and going with that. My next question was, what specifically do you want students to show? How will they show that they mastered it? And you said it right there with the bingo kind of part. And so if we were to modify this last part of your I will statement, what do you think what adjustments would you make?
Well, let's see. I wrote play orchestra bingo to demonstrate knowledge of different instruments and the unique timbre of each. Maybe in thinking what I really want that's specific and measurable. Maybe play orchestra bingo. I don't know.
Okay. No, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. So I'm kind of going back through and I'm thinking, if I'm looking for something that is specific, and what I want them to do, it's okay. I want them to be able to identify the instruments and timbre. So that's what I need them to be able to do by the time this is done. And then the measurable part, like how will I know they did it? You actually have a great activity here of bingo to demonstrate the knowledge of instruments by getting a bingo. And like you explained to me on the bingo thing, it's pictures the instrument, so they'll be identifying it.
Right.
And once they get the bingo, I mean,
that shows me that they know it.
Last time I played bingo, that's 5.
That's right.
That's 5 in a row.
I know 5.
So that's perfect. That's perfect. And that's kind of what we're looking at. So if I were to rewrite this, I would probably put of course, I will be able to identify instruments in timbre. Make sure I got that right. Okay, timbre of the orchestra by getting a bingo identifying instruments.
Okay, which is 5.
Which is
So
5.
they're doing at least 5.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that could even be part in there, identifying 5 instruments.
Okay.
And that's very specific and measurable because I can easily tell. And they don't know that they're doing that because they're playing bingo.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so I tell you what, let's rewrite this one just right here
Okay.
to make sure that we've got a correct example of an I will statement. So I will.
Play orchestra
Let's see.
bingo.
We'll do the part that we want specific. So identify instruments.
I will identify. Okay.
Identify instruments. Okay, got it. All right. By, because that's all the part. The by part is the measurable part, and it's what you have them do all the time. At the end of the lesson, every teacher usually has a exit ticket or something like that, just to show like, what did they get it or not. And so, in your case, you have a great bingo game going. So by
Identifying 5 instruments through playing bingo.
perfect.
Okay.
I think that's dead on.
My instruments by I don't know if I spelled that right.
It's okay.
5 instruments.
Perfect.
Okay.
I think that looks really good. Identifying, yep. And so as we move forward from here, through subsequent lessons, I can't talk, through other lessons that are coming up, I'm going to be spot checking for mastery, just in the lesson plans that you submit online and that you share with me. And we can kind of go from there. And I'll meet with you again to show if there's something you need for feedback. We'll set up a time. We'll go through that, and otherwise, I mean, because I'm really confident that we'll be fine. We'll check it for mastery and mark you as mastered on all this stuff. And if you're really good, I might have a gold star.
Okay.
If I can come up with one
Thank
in that
you.
regard. Absolutely. So from that point, how will you accomplish this action step? How will you tackle this?
I am going to. I think I do number 1 and number 2 pretty well, but
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think that
Yes,
number
ma'am.
3, I think maybe I need to be more specific in what I would like for them to master. And then in number 4, it's doing this, writing it more specifically. And I think this is the key word right here for me. is
That's
the
funny.
word
I was
by.
about to come over here and do the exact same thing, and I was like, "Bye."
I
Once you
think
have that, you're
helps
just kind of like,
me.
"Oh yeah, okay,
That's more specific. So I
So-
think I'll work really hard
awesome."
on these number 3 and number 4.
I love it. I love it. You'll get it. You'll get it. You're very smart. You might be the greatest music teacher of all time.
I don't know.
That's on record, Cameron. Just want to say. So, all right. Well, Ginger, thank you.
Thank you.
You have any questions for me?
I don't.
Perfect.
This
All
is
right.
it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.